what we are doing at the moment is that university we have two primary functions. The first one is offer education, and the second function is to do research. So in terms of education, we are very excited this year that we are launching the Bachelor of IT, Information Technology, first time in Hanoi, and we also introduced 5 new specializations that focus on AI, cloud computing, web and mobile development, and so on. And in terms of research, we also collaborate very closely with key technology companies in Vietnam and also globally. For example, we collaborated with the Hospital for Tropical Diseases in Saigon. We developed a deep learning application to recognize doctors' handwriting. We also collaborate with FPT software before, so I know that. We also collaborate with banks, for example, ACB, and so those are the activities that we have been doing. And actually, we have 2 research clusters in our school. One focused on artificial intelligence and machine learning, and the other cluster focused on smart cities.
So maybe have a few points from Mr. Kang.
Right. Hello, everyone. So basically, I came here to learn, and I think I got so much knowledge. I mean, like, of course, reading all these stuff, Googling about frontier tech, IoT, AR, VR, all those stuff. But I think hearing directly from professionals and sharing the real life use cases is really, a lot of learning I would take away. And definitely we try to apply in my business, which is banks. And it makes me realize that banks is actually slower in adopting a lot of these stuff, and it's so new. But anyway, I'm just trying to say that there's some small use case that we are actually trying to implement. Simple use case, for example, in RPA, the Yakko FPT is presented, and also we did some use case on chatbot, right? And one technology that adopted widely in other industry, but banks is starting to do is blockchain-based remittance. So we're also doing a use case with RippleNet. So we joined RippleNet to do blockchain cross-border transfer. So that's just one interesting use case. And that's all. I think there's many things that definitely I like to take away, but one particular very interesting is learning. I would definitely chat with Yuan Z from Hyperlab after today on how to do presentation online with animation and graphics like that. Is so effective and so awesome. I'd like to learn how to do that. And definitely we make online presentation more fun and real instead of just showing the faces, the voice. I think if we attract the audience much better. So thank you for the opportunity to be here today.
Thank you. So I think like the additional add-on values for the today is like for at Cabot you have a new client, and maybe one year he will have a new client. So may we have like the connection with our colleagues in West Ventures and B Capital. Michelle
Sure.
and yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Hi Kimiko, hi everyone and panelists. Great thanks to Kimiko and her amazing team for putting together this Vietnam Frontier Tech Summit at Techfest 2020. I'm Michelle from Quest Ventures. So I think maybe I could just do a quick introduction before I deep dive into what are some of the prominent frontier technologies that we've seen. So for Quest Ventures ourselves, we are a leading venture fund in Southeast Asia and emerging Asia. We invest in startups in the digital economy space for the seed and Series A round. So far this year, we have invested in a number of companies in the logistics, legal tech, cloud kitchen, in-home entertainment and payment space as part of our portfolio. We also run accelerators to build up capacity of startups in Kazakhstan and Central Asia, and Malaysia and Vietnam and Southeast Asia. So we have accelerated about 50 startups in the last 6 months, and I'm very happy to join this panel to discuss frontier tech and really learn from all the other speakers who have gone before me and the session. And we're very glad to see one of our startups who we accelerated this year, Hyperlab, to be here as well, and it's amazing showcase of their technology. So if we talk about the most prominent frontier technology we have witnessed, maybe I could bring bring one from our portfolio companies in Plan 1. So because there's no universally agreed definition of frontier technology even as of now, right? So Quest understands frontier technologies as defined by different technology advances in that they have the potential to disrupt the status quo, alter the way people live, work, and rearrange value pools, and lead to entirely new products and services. So it includes digital technologies such as AI, IoT, big data analytics, and modeling simulations. The company that I want to highlight would be Aptix, which Quest has invested in much earlier, even before drones became a focus. So Aptix pioneered the use of drones in commercial applications. They offer technologies specialized in marine and land aerial photography and video, so mapping and color and thermal inspections as well. The company provides survey quality scanning with in-house built drones and develops their own web platform, XMaps, that manages unmanned aerial vehicles and flight logs, analyzes flight trends, and provides sharing features. So they work with prominent companies to deploy this technology, such as Shell, ST Marine, and East Marine. So this would be one of the prominent frontier technology project that I've witnessed. So I thought to share it with you. And if we zoom in on Singapore in 2017, the Minister of Communications and Information then outlined 4 frontier technologies as focus areas for the development of Singapore's digital economy, mainly AI and data science, that's number 1, cybersecurity, that's 2, immersive media, which is AR, VR, that's 3, and the 4th would be IoT and 5G. So I think that's pretty similar in Vietnam as well. So I think collaboratively, we could be developing the entire ecosystem for frontier technologies. Yeah. In terms of our viewpoints on the current actions towards potential of frontier technologies, Quest is very interested in this space, and we are looking especially to those with commercial applications, be it payment systems, logistics, applied AI, and AR, VR. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the sharing. And now let's go to, I think that I want to have one further question for Quest Ventures, because as you have shared, you are quite active. And actually Quest Venture is the top 10 most active investor in Southeast Asia, and specifically for early stage startups. So what do you see in Vietnam's potential? And I think recently your founder also stated that Quest Venture wanted to invest $10 million in Vietnam at least for the next 3 years.
Yes, maybe I will talk about that after maybe Chang introduce herself.
Okay.
Is that better?
Yeah. Okay. So
okay, I'll do a quick version since everybody has shared a lot, and I think there's a lot of overlap in our views. So first of all, thanks for having me here today. I'm super excited to be joining Techfest. For me, it's the first time, and super encouraged to see and actually a lot of learnings for myself to see how deep tech has penetrated Vietnam ecosystem. So just a quick kind of response to Kimiko's earlier question. I think personally, I'm very intrigued by innovation in healthcare and data science in general, and then I'll just give 2 examples of what I think would be super exciting in the near term. One is a company that we recently invested called Data Robot. So they're actually quite a mature, in a relative scale of startup, they are relatively sort of more late stage. What they do is they provide a platform that essentially automates end-to-end process of developing and deploying predictive data science and machine learning models, all the way from preparation of the data for the clients, which is corporate or SME, to featuring engineering, model training, validation, and the actual machine learning operations. And through that, basically, they enable the data scientists or even non-technical business analysts to be able to find conceptualize and deploy best possible models. So basically, think of them as a business that democratize entire data science practice, right? So that's, I think, is super powerful. And the second example in the space of healthcare would be a company that I think the one from SG Innovate highlighted earlier, Mido.ai. So there again, a company that is democratizing a very complex and niche medical operation, ultrasound, and make it accessible to everyone through mobile devices, or just medical devices, IoT. And in terms of our view on frontier technologies, very simply put, I think the potential is enormous because these are technologies that can transform industries, that can transcend across industries and geographies. And if I were to put it, to simply put it, I think our view is the last 2 decades have been very much about the rise of consumer internet. And the next 2 decades will be about digital transformation of traditional industries through technologies such as frontier industries. And the industries that we can potentially can transform through frontier industries, frontier technologies will be healthcare, banking, insurance, everything, right? Industrials, retail. So that would be kind of a quick response to your question, Kimiko.
Yes, thank you so much for the sharing. And I think that both of the investors coming from abroad, they can see the potential of Vietnam. So may I come back to Mr. Tam? So you lead the digital initiative at OCB Bank. So if you could give us some kind of landscape in terms of the digital transformation in the banking industry, and what kind of potential technology that you think will be accelerated in the next 6 months or 12 months, given like amid the COVID?
Thanks for the question, Kimiko. So, like any other industry, banking is undergoing rapid digital transformation, not only in the front end customer-facing journeys, but also on the back end. So, I think now that all banks are realizing that it is a very competitive landscape where not only competitive inside Vietnam, but also coming from outside Vietnam, as Mr. David said, it's not only now a local game, it's a global game where banking in Vietnam is not only served and dominated by local players, but also very, very easily provided services by fintech players that can easily have offices somewhere in India, Singapore, but providing local services to Vietnamese. So that, as a local player, we understand, we see the pressure, so that's why we currently undergoing a lot of different projects. Basically, we cannot accelerate in a way that we get impatient, but we really have to test it out, implement one by one, break into pieces where we want to solve problems by problem. So currently we are implementing a lot of different POCs. What we call that, OCB is very active in the fintech space where we collaborate with a lot of fintechs. So whatever technologies that other banks in the world are using, we try to learn, and then we invite them to work with us on how to test it out for Vietnam. So I think that's the best way. So so far it's going okay. Yeah, thank you.
Well, I think that we still another deal for Quest Ventures and B Capital, because I think fintech is also like a very strong portfolio that Singaporean and Southeast Asian, you can do the POC with OCB Bank. So coming next to Dr. Duy Đăng Phạm. So you come from the education perspective and you have been like leading the initiative at the computer science school. So how is it going over there with the, we see a lot of potential and the openings for frontier technology related jobs. So how is like the future of work, and what do you think the capacity of Vietnam in the next 5 and 10 years?
Thanks, Kimiko, for the question. Very interesting. So I think that in terms of jobs, the future of work in Vietnam globally, definitely with the current advancement in terms of big data, analytics and AI, then definitely there will be more new jobs, jobs that we have never seen before. So for example, at the moment I'm discussing with the team in Melbourne about some potential new jobs in the future, for example like consultant for AI ethics. So we are talking about ethics in implementing AI, and we need consultants for that. We also talk about digital customer journey mapper. So those who will map the customer journey of those who use AI products, for example. So new jobs will be there. Some old jobs may be lost and replaced by automation. Some current jobs may be changed because when new technologies they are rolled out, then in the first stage we'll need people to develop and design the technologies. And in the second stage, we'll need people to implement and ultimately use them. So some of the traditional jobs at the moment, they'll need to learn how to use data, how to use AI system effectively. And I think that I can envision in the future all of the jobs they will be data related or data intensive. So the new generations of workers they need to have some sort of data literacy or data skills. And back to Mr. David remarked previously about the security of data. So at the moment, I think that I share the opinion with Mr. David that security awareness in Vietnam is still very low. But in the future, all of the jobs they require to know how to handle data, how to protect data, how to share data effectively. So that is for the future of work. And
Thank you so much for sharing. So of course, like it will be incorporated in the curriculum as RMIT is like really spearheading the education for the future. So coming back to Michelle, can you please share briefly more about the initiative that you're leading Vietnam Global Innovation and also like your upcoming activities in Vietnam market?
Sure, thank you, Kimiko. So if we talk about the Vietnam Global Innovation, it is a leading program to accelerate access to Southeast Asia's hottest economy, which is Vietnam, right? I think we all see great potential in Vietnam, and we are a partner of the Global Innovation Alliance for Vietnam by Enterprise Singapore and Singapore Economic Development Board. So we conduct this acceleration program to position startups for success in Vietnam through mentorship, business matching, and support in navigating its business landscape. So Kimiko has always been very supportive as well to help startups land in Vietnam and grow. So each year we bring around 20 companies into Vietnam to learn about its market, startup ecosystem, and put Vietnam on their expansion roadmap. So in terms of that, it's not just the Singapore companies under this program, it's also our different portfolio companies and startup networks in Central Asia and other parts of Southeast Asia. Despite COVID-19, we have supported 12 companies in their journey in exploring and expanding into Vietnam, and some of the startups have secured partnership pilots and are looking to set up their office in Vietnam. So I think Hyperlab founder would be one of them. So in terms of like what we're going to continue to do in Vietnam is that we're actively looking for deal flow. So we believe in the potential of Vietnam. It's one of the most dynamic emerging economies in Southeast Asia. I think like previously people refer to Vietnam as frontier economies, right? But I think now we have moved past talking about Vietnam being frontier economy, but more towards frontier technologies and how it's going to be applied. So like we can see the growth growing like tremendously, and a lot of interest from investors like ourselves and also eCapital. So I think in terms of that, we do see great growth in this region through Vietnam. So Nikki even mentioned that Vietnam could emerge as the sole economic winner in Southeast Asia, as we see the GDP expanding by 2.6% in the third quarter, and it's the second straight quarter of growth amidst like the coronavirus pandemic. Exports also grew 9.9% year on year in October to $26.7 billion US. So we believe that all in all, the forces that's happening, the forces, macroeconomic forces, is actually causing Vietnam to emerge stronger and also to become a clear winner in this region as well. So in terms of the potential of applications of frontier technologies, we could probably look at drones applications to the agri-tech, so like analyzing data from sensors, but not just collection of data, but the monitoring, collecting, overlaying of data to make sense of it would be a key focus. We do see quite a number of startups focusing on that in this region. So that is something that we can look at for Vietnam as well. So to generate rich insights from this surveillance and also allow farmers and owners to make more evidence-based decisions. Another thing that we might look to is the application of AR and VR on e-commerce and social commerce right now. So I think that's going to be something really huge. According to a study, average mobile conversion without AR is about 3.5%. With AR, it increases to 11%. So I think it could become a key driver to enable e-commerce and S-commerce in Vietnam and also the region.
Yeah, thank you for your sharing. Definitely, e-commerce and social commerce selling is increasing in Vietnam. So come to Chen from B Capital. You invest in B2B startups mostly, and usually at the growth stage, which is usually Series B and C. And you have some major verticals like enterprise technology, fintech and insurtech, and industrial. So which particular industry that you are looking for the potential in Vietnam? And also what do you see in the potential? Because I think Vietnam, we have the ecosystem in general is still at the very early stage. So what exactly are you looking for in the Vietnam market, and what initiative you are going to do to be more active in Vietnam for the next few years?
Sure. So to take a step back, we are a global venture capital firm, and our investment spread across the US and Asia, namely India and Southeast Asia. And within Southeast Asia, Vietnam is a key market for us. For all the reasons I can explain, but probably also a repetition of what Michelle mentioned earlier. It is true that the VC and startup ecosystem in Vietnam is still maturing, and especially in the context of B2B, most of the startups are still sort of maybe early for us. When we look at Series B, C, typically we need the startup to cross over the commercialization phase, say in the context of enterprise SaaS solution, for example, which is a big focus for us. The company ideally would be crossing at least $1 million ARR mark, which I believe Vietnam would be able to see more and more such companies coming out, just given the talent of the pool of engineering talent, where Vietnam is ranked, I think, top 10 countries in the world with the most number of graduates in engineering. And I think in terms of sort of technology adoption in Vietnam right now in B2B, not specific to a certain industry, but I do believe that adoption of productivity software across all industries and businesses will be on the rise. These are software that could, leverage AI or ML or even before AI, right? But simply bring about better user experience, functionalities, help business improve productivity, improve cost savings, and unlock new sales potential. So there are plenty of sort of such software that potentially disrupt just the current sort of value chain across sales, marketing, HR, legal, finance, accounting, customer success, and whatnot. So the other aspect is digitalization of supply chain through adoption of robotics, software. Basically, their solutions to connect nodes across the supply chain and improve the visibility of the supply chain, given Vietnam being a manufacturing hub. And over time, I also think increasingly companies and organizations would move towards modern data infrastructure and allow API integration, just as what Mr. Tam from OCD was mentioning. Thereby, you can benefit from a wider ecosystem with other service partners and enrich the customer experience altogether.
Thank you for your sharing. And we can open the floor for the audience if you can have 1 to 3 questions right now to our panelists. David, you want to make a question?
Yes, I do. So in the US, I go to the bank. It takes me 5 minutes to get my money. In Vietnam, it takes me 30 minutes. I go from one spot to the next spot, to the next spot, to the next spot. So how can we make that a standard for Vietnam?
So I guess David was addressing the question to me then, right?
Yes.
As a local representative of the banks, yeah. So I understand. I think banks are still undergoing a lot of changes, especially it's the conflict between being a traditional model that has been traditional for so long, and that is building the culture, where a lot of staff, if banks still, have lots of staff at the branches, and, because they've been in the traditional flow, the mindset for so long, so it would take time, even though that we have the new technology that a lot of banks actually in Vietnam actually are digitizing the branch experience. So basically, some banks, and also is trying to do the same, namely, 15 and Angling Bank. Actually, they are implementing face authentication at the branch, where allowing customers don't have to bring ID anymore. They can walk into the branch and show their face, and they can, get authenticated by the teller, and then get the transaction conducted. So those things, and even TV with the, you traveling at the airport today, you see, like KYC, Face ID, passport at the live banks, right? And also at the ATM. So those technologies are so readily available, but which banks will implement faster and educate? I have to say that even though digital technologies are readily available, but the people, the staff, the management, the operations staff have to buy in, and then you have to work with the technology in order to make this experience completely pleasant and digitized, right? Because sometimes technology only can do its part, and if the human don't want to collaborate, then it's not going to work. So what I'm saying is that technology is one, human and buy-in as a company going top down. And then with top-down support has to happen if you cannot just go from bottom up anymore. So I think all that will make your experience better. But I'm sure if you go to banks today, it will not be 30 minutes. I'm sure that withdrawal will take like less than 5 minutes today. I'm not sure which banks you are banking, but if you go to OCB, I will make sure that will take 1 minute.
Okay, so like the conclusion is that you have been going to the wrong bank. Okay, so you should open an OCB. And I think that Mr. Share a very good viewpoint in terms of like the behavior changing. And of course, like the standard that Mr. David is so used to. Now, like that kind of standard, like the US standard and also like the Singaporean standard, this is like a platform, and I think that Vietnam is catching up really quickly, and we have seen a lot of solutions to improve like the customer experience. I'm sorry that we are quite running out of time, but I do hope that the sharing from the panelists today, as well as we will share with you like their contact information and the introduction of their company, because like the major purpose of this kind of Frontier Technology Summit, I'm really hoping that this is the first year that we have the Frontier Tech Summit officially in Techfest, and it's going to be every year, and it's going to be more and more the presentation from Vietnam, from the Vietnam solution, and our global partner can come and then see us. So just a quick reminder that tomorrow morning we will have like the final challenge for the startup, the competition in Techfest. So for Michelle and Tianchen, we will definitely tune you in for the top 10 presentation, and for everyone in here, you can get like the invitation from the organizer.